Hello and welcome to Product Packaging and Profit, where we help product-based businesses turn packaging design into a competitive edge to attract customers, grow sales, and boost profits. I'm Kelly Kemple. After 20 years of designing packaging for national retailers, I founded Hidden Path Creative, a graphic design studio that supports entrepreneurs with branding and packaging to get their products seen and sold. I'm sharing the secrets that launched big brands so your products can stand out. Let's get started. This episode of Product Packaging and Profit is sponsored by the Packaging Printer List. If there is one question I've heard from almost every product entrepreneur I've talked to, it is, where can I get my packaging printed? No, really. If we were on the Family Feud, this would be the answer at the top of the board. The Packaging Printer List is a curated directory of over 45 packaging printers and suppliers across various product categories, packaging types, and locations. I've handpicked all of the entries so you can be sure you're starting with a vetted shortlist. To grab your copy of the Packaging Printer List, head over to hiddenpathcreative.com/packagingprinterlist. Welcome back. Thanks for joining me here at Product Packaging and Profit. I am so excited to dive into a really meaty topic today. And what I want to talk to you about is doing a competitive audit for your product. Now, what the heck is a competitive audit? It just sounds like a really fancy term for, it's a fancy term for taking note of what your competitors are doing. So taking a look at your competition and knowing where they are at and what they are doing so that you can use that to inform your own product marketing strategy. So as we dive into doing a competitive audit, and some people in the retail space call this a comp shop or a market audit, whatever you want to call it, it's really about creating a list of your direct product competitors and keeping yourself up to date and in the know about what it is that they're doing. So to get started, grab a pen and paper or an Excel sheet and make a list of those direct competitors. You might have one or two. You might have 4 or 5, you might have a bunch, but start making that list. And once you've made that list, we can narrow it down. We can narrow it down to, let's say you sell candles. We can narrow it down to brands that target the same customer that you target with your candles, or let's say you create candles with witty sayings on the labels. Maybe you just want to look at the direct 3 competitors that have volume selling candles with witty text on the labels. But get started with the list. Then we're going to make a second list. This list is inspirational brands. So brands that you look up to in the same category. So let's use this candle example again. Let's say you are selling jar candles with 1 to 2 wicks at a $20 to $30 price point. Your direct competition is also going to be selling candles at that $20 to $30 price point. But an aspirational brand, an inspirational brand, is probably selling a similar size candle at that $40 to $50 price point. And why is it important to look at a brand a step above? Because your customers are looking at those brands a step above. Your customers are looking at those brands and have a desire to buy those products, but aren't willing to pay the price for those products. There's something super interesting to learn there. And the other brands and products you can add to this list for your competitive audit would be brands and products that your ideal customer is shopping. So we've been using this example of a candle line. What other things are your customers shopping for if they're shopping for candles? Well, one easy next step is they're also shopping for home decor. So what are some of the home decor brands that your customer or your ideal customer is paying attention to? So you want to kind of think about that. Like, what are other product categories that your customer is specifically shopping for? And, what brands in those categories would your customer be aware of? So get that list. You might spend a couple of days pulling that list together. You might already have that list pulled together. But if you have a product brand, you definitely want to have a list of your direct competition, a list of inspirational brands in the same product category, and then a list of brands and products that your ideal customer is also shopping. Now, you get to do the fun part. You get to actually go shopping. So you've made your list, but before you go shopping, let's hold up for a minute here. Let's take a step back and let's identify top timeframes when your customer shops. Now, if you're already selling a product line, you're probably seeing this in your sales. Like there may be a couple months during the year where your sales spike up, where you have higher sales and then, everything's kind of average. And for a lot of brands, a top time frame is going to be holiday. For other brands, a top time frame might be back to school, which actually starts in like July, August. Or you might have a brand where a lot of your customers shop in spring or in that spring time frame. Like let's say, for example, you're in the swimwear category. A key time to shop is going to be spring as everybody's getting ready for summer. So plot that out on a calendar. What are those key time frames when your customer shops? And I recommend scheduling 2 to 4 times a year that you are going to do competitive shopping, because you're going to want to see how things go throughout the year. All right, so you've got your list, you've got your key time frames to go shopping. You are going to want to go to stores, and you want to go to stores that carry your direct competition, or if your direct competition has their own brick and mortar store, go there. Or you can go to like some local boutiques that carry the same types of products, but you want to spend a day or two going to stores and be really strategic about this shopping. You're going to want to take a few things with you. Your phone is one of the best tools that you have. Bring it. You're going to want to take pictures. It used to be pretty difficult to go into a store and take pictures, but it's not so much anymore. You can go into a store, look at a display, take a photo. Nobody really asks any questions. And if they do, you just say, I'm shopping. I want to think about this for later. And, sometimes as a packaging designer, I might kind of take things, take something off the rack and then take a photo of it, or take a box and move it to a table and take a photo of it. You just want to have those visual reminders of what you're seeing out in the market, because what you're, in the first phase of a competitive audit, of competitive shopping, the first time you go out, you're just looking to collect as much information as possible. You want to have a record of what all of your competitors are doing. And honestly, you might also see some interesting ideas that are different brands while you're out there, something new, something you haven't thought of before, a package with a new material, a package that looks interesting that you want to learn more about. Snap a photo of it and take notes. You can take notes on your phone, or you can take a notebook with you and, make some notes after you've left the store. But you also want to take notes about why something caught your eye. your initial reaction to a product or a package, and just keep everything together. Now, once you've shopped in stores, also go online. So go to the e-commerce sites for the brands on your list, go to Amazon, go to the other marketplaces that are selling the products, and take a look at what they're doing. Take a look at their product images. Take a look at how they're photographing their product. Take a look at their product descriptions and their product names. All right, so we've just done a lot of research. We've collected a lot of information. At this point, it may seem overwhelming. Like, what are we going to do with all of this? Well, now we're at the point where we need to summarize our findings. We need to take all of this data that we've pulled and really sift through it. So a lot of times your first competitive shop is going to be one of the biggest. So you might want to break it down. But once you've shopped all of these channels, you've pulled all of your photos together, you've pulled all of your notes, you want to start to look at what are the common themes and trends. So for all of your competitive brands, what things are they all doing in common? Are they all using photography on their packaging? Are they all using icons on their packaging? Are they all producing products in a similar material? Are they all highlighting a same particular feature? You really want to find those common threads and themes. Those are the things that customers are going to actually expect in your product category. So you want to make sure that you know what those major common themes are. The next thing is you're going through all your data that you're going to want to pull out is, what are the standout ideas? What is something that only like one person is doing, one product is doing, one brand is doing? What is that thing? And then you're going to want to dive a little bit deeper, but identify those standout ideas. It might be a new product idea. It might be a new product feature. It could be any number of things, but you want to identify those standouts. Another thing you can take a look at is misses. Is there something that one of your competitors did that looks like it kind of flopped? And again, that could be any number of things. Like they tried a new product, but every store you went into, that particular product has all of its stock on shelf and they're starting to mark it down. Or you saw that they tried something in their online listing, and from a customer point of view, it just doesn't seem like it's resonating. Meaning, like somebody might have written something in a product description and you as a viewer just don't even understand it. That would be a miss. So take note of those things, because then you can be sure not to repeat their mistakes. And keep a running list. So I mentioned before that like the first time you go out to do a competitive audit can be a little daunting because you're collecting so much information. Here's the great thing. The first time is like the biggest audit, right? Because you're collecting all of this foundational information. You're creating your lists. You're taking pictures of everything. The second time you go out, you don't have to reinvent the wheel. The second time you go out, you can look at your findings from the first competitive audit and just look at what has changed since then. It'll become more of an efficient machine where if you're doing this a couple times a year, you're just kind of looking for what's new. You're looking for what has changed. You're looking if anybody's doing anything different. You don't have to go back through every single competitor and every single point. And once you've created this summary of what you're seeing, of these common themes and trends, the standout ideas, the misses, you can use this to adjust your own strategy. What are you doing and how does it stand up against these things? You're seeing these common themes and trends. What do you need to infuse into your product or your product messaging or your packaging to pick up on those familiar cues that customers are expecting in your product category? Or you're seeing what everybody else is doing. Do you see then an opportunity to do something a little bit different? Is there a portion of the market, is there a customer for this product category that is being ignored that you can pivot to connect with? You can look at where those standout ideas are, and is there a standout idea of your own that's not being covered? And like I mentioned before, those misses, just keep note of them. Make sure you don't make the same mistake they did. Now, part of the reason why I'm doing this episode right now is because holiday is coming up. You are up to your eyeballs in holiday. You are getting ready for your biggest selling season. You've been working on your products all year for really the Super Bowl of retail. You are ready to jump into holiday and have your best quarter all year selling your products. I just don't want you to forget to take that step back and take note of what is going on out in the market. Take a little bit of time, schedule a day or two to shop and collect this data so it can help you to inform your product strategy for next year and potentially even your product strategy for holiday next year. As a packaging designer, I always find it super interesting to go shopping at the holidays and check out everybody's holiday product packaging, their bundle offerings, all of that special goodness that everybody puts out into the market to give themselves an edge for holiday. It's always interesting for me to see the trends. I think it was last year. There was a lot of like red and green with like a pastel lilac. And I'm curious to see if there's more of that this year. But what you'll see is there might be like something that one or two brands do this year that then next year more brands pick up the same idea, whether it's a design idea, a product bundle idea, a product marketing idea. Typically, those standout ideas that you've identified out in the market, people then replicate the following year. So I want you to just take a minute to get yourself ahead for next year by doing your own competitive shopping this holiday season. I hope to see you out there. Thank you for listening to Product Packaging and Profit, a podcast for product entrepreneurs looking to level up with packaging. We hope you'll join us next time to hear more about how packaging can help propel profitable product businesses. If you have enjoyed the show, please rate and review us wherever you are listening. And be sure to come back in 2 weeks for our next episode. Until then, this is Kelly Kemple of Hidden Path Creative. And don't forget, what's on the outside matters too.